The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966 remains one of the most iconic and influential westerns in cinema history, thrilling audiences with its unforgettable characters, tense standoffs, and legendary soundtrack. The film's success was built on the talents of a remarkable cast who brought depth, charisma, and grit to their roles. Sadly, many of these legendary actors have tragically passed away, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire filmmakers and fans alike. In this video, we pay tribute to the stars of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, celebrating their incredible performances and remembering the lasting mark they left on film history. Eli Wallach was born on December 7, 1915 in Brooklyn, New York, and was 51 years old when he portrayed Tuco the Ugly in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly 1966. On-screen, Tuco was a combustible force of chaos, blending cunning criminality with dark humor, a character whose survival instincts and unhinged charm made him unforgettable. Wallach's early life in a working-class Jewish family exposed him to financial instability, ethnic prejudice, and the need for adaptability from an early age, forging the resilience and emotional range that would later define his acting style. Despite a natural talent for performance, Wallach's career was initially a series of near misses, struggling in the competitive New York theater scene, and enduring years of obscurity, all while balancing family responsibilities. His professional life was punctuated by moments of high risk. His dedication to method acting often placed him in dangerous physical situations, including nearly losing his life during the filming of a train sequence in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. While he avoided the common Hollywood pitfalls of substance abuse, Wallach's personal life was not without strain, including the pressures of long separations from family due to travel and demanding schedules. Yet he cultivated a reputation for generosity, mentorship, and an unflinching commitment to his craft, often shaping entire scenes with his improvisational ingenuity. He passed away on June 24, 2014 in Manhattan at the age of 98 from natural causes, leaving behind a net worth estimated at $6 million, accumulated through decades of film, television, and theater. Beyond monetary value, his legacy is immeasurable. Wallach redefined the cinematic anti-hero, inspiring generations of actors to blend menace, comedy, and vulnerability, and Tuco remains an enduring symbol of unpredictability, moral complexity, and charismatic anarchy in film history, ensuring that his influence persists in the lexicon of performance artistry. Aldo Giuffrè was born on April 10, 1924 in Naples, Italy, and was 42 when he portrayed the alcoholic Union Army Captain Clinton in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. His character embodied the weariness, moral ambiguity, and tragic humanity of a soldier, broken by war, adding poignant gravitas to the film's sweeping narrative of greed and survival. Giuffre's childhood in Naples was shaped by economic scarcity, the shadow of fascist Italy, and social instability conditions that fostered a sharp wit, adaptability, and an acute awareness of human frailty. His career in Italian cinema was extensive, spanning over 90 films, and he was renowned for blending comedy and drama with subtlety, though he faced periods of professional stagnation during market downturns and shifts in audience taste. Despite an absence of public scandals, Giuffrè experienced the typical pressures of international film work, grueling schedules, extended separations from family, and the physical and psychological demands of embodying morally complex characters. His personal life was marked by discretion and stability, a contrast to the turbulent lives of many contemporaries, though he endured the common challenges of aging and health management. Giuffrè died on June 26, 2010 in Rome at the age of 86 from peritonitis, leaving an artistic legacy that far outshone his financial record, which remains largely undocumented. He is remembered as a consummate professional whose performances, particularly the Union Captain, imbued European cinema with humanity amidst violence, proving that subtlety, moral depth, and an understanding of human vulnerability can create enduring cultural resonance. His contribution continues to influence Italian film acting pedagogy and the interpretation of morally ambiguous characters in global cinema. Luigi Pistilli was born on July 19, 1929 in Grosseto, Italy, and was 37 years old when he played Father Pablo Ramirez in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, portraying Tuco's conflicted brother who embodied moral struggle, spiritual burden, and the emotional estrangement of family torn by war. His character's solemnity and inner torment contrasted sharply with Tuco's chaotic, often violent energy, leaving an indelible impression on audiences as a man weighed down by conscience and circumstance. Pistilli's childhood was marked by hardship, born into a modest Italian family. During the interwar period, he experienced economic scarcity, social instability, and early exposure to the traumas of a nation recovering from conflict, which shaped his intense emotional sensitivity and cultivated a private, introspective temperament. His career, though distinguished on stage and in film, was fraught with challenges. He earned acclaim for his interpretations of Brecht and roles in Italian westerns, yet frequently faced the pressures of critical scrutiny, professional jealousy, and the mercurial nature of Italian cinema, which often demanded long hours, grueling travel, and physical risks. He struggled privately with depression, exacerbated by turbulent romantic entanglements, including a bitter publicized breakup with singer Milva, which haunted him for years and fueled his eventual despair. Pistilli's personal life reflected volatility and introspection. Despite professional admiration, he remained intensely private, cultivated few close relationships, and battled emotional demons largely alone. Tragically, he took his own life on April 21, 1996 in Milan at the age of 66, leaving a note expressing anguish over personal and professional pressures. His estate was modest, and while exact net worth is not publicly documented, his cultural legacy endures through his haunting performances, the depth he brought to morally conflicted roles, and his lasting influence on Italian theater and cinema, with fans and scholars often reflecting on the emotional authenticity he brought to every character he inhabited. Lee Van Cleef was born on January 9, 1925 in Somerville, New Jersey, and was 41 years old when he assumed the role of Angel Eyes, the bad and the good, the bad and the ugly, 1966. Angel Eyes was a merciless, calculating villain whose icy precision and calm brutality made him one of cinema's most chilling antagonists. Van Cleef's cold, angular features and intense gaze brought a natural menace that defined the character's screen presence. Growing up in a modest family during the Great Depression, Van Cleef experienced financial hardship, early responsibility, and a psychological toughness that later informed the emotional intensity of his performances. His career trajectory was far from linear. A serious car accident in 1959 threatened to end his work, and he faced frequent typecasting as a Western antagonist, which he initially resented. Off-screen, Van Cleef was notoriously private, yet intensely perfectionistic, occasionally clashing with directors and co-stars due to his insistence on authenticity and control, earning a reputation as both disciplined and difficult. While he avoided sensational scandals, he battled the psychological toll of repeated near-death experiences and the constant demand to portray cold-blooded characters convincingly. Professionally, he transformed perceived typecasting into mastery, becoming a cornerstone of the spaghetti western genre under Sergio Leone, delivering performances that balanced menace, calculation, and subtle humanity. He died on December 16, 1989 in Oxnard, California, at the age of 64 from a heart attack complicated by throat cancer. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $2.5 million, largely from decades of genre filmmaking. Van Cleef's cultural impact is profound. Angel Eyes remains a benchmark for cinematic villainy, and his disciplined, intense approach to screen performance continues to influence actors and filmmakers, demonstrating that enduring screen presence can emerge from meticulous craft, personal resilience, and a willingness to embrace one's own intensity. Aldo Sambrell, born Alfredo Sanchez Brell on February 23, 1931 in Vallecas, Spain, was 35 when he appeared in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966 as a loyal yet menacing member of Angel Eyes' gang, a role that defined his prolific career in spaghetti westerns. Sambrell's silent but threatening presence contributed to the film's atmosphere of danger, exemplifying the ruthless loyalty and moral ambiguity that made Leone's work iconic. His childhood was marked by upheaval and displacement. Fleeing Spain during the Civil War, he experienced poverty, marginalization, and the emotional scars of forced migration, which forged resilience, adaptability, and a hardened persona that later became central to his acting style. Initially pursuing a football career in Mexico, he returned to Spain and embraced acting, navigating a restrictive and competitive film industry that frequently typecast him as a villain due to his sharp features and commanding presence. Sambrell's professional life was vibrant yet demanding. He contended with the limitations of typecasting, long shoots and harsh conditions, and occasional friction with directors and co-stars, yet he cultivated a reputation for professionalism and dedication to craft. His personal life remained largely private, though he faced the ordinary pressures of marriage, family, and public expectation, often prioritizing work over personal notoriety. He died on July 10, 2010 in Alicante at age 79 from a cerebral infarction following multiple strokes, leaving an estate not publicly documented but reflective of decades of work in over 150 films. Sambrell's legacy is deeply entwined with the spaghetti western genre, remembered for embodying cinematic menace, resilience, and enduring professionalism, and his ashes were symbolically scattered at Fort Bravo, cementing a posthumous tribute to the genre that defined his career in the cultural imagination of European Western cinema. Mario Brega was born on March 25, 1923 in Rome, Italy, and was 43 years old when he portrayed Corporal Wallace in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966, a cruel and domineering Union soldier who terrorizes Tuco. Wallace's sadistic authority, physical intimidation, and relentless cruelty mirrored Brega's imposing 6'4" frame and over 250-pound build, making him a natural choice for spaghetti western villains. Brega's upbringing was steeped in the struggles of a working-class Roman family, where financial scarcity and societal pressure forced him to develop a thick exterior and a capacity to endure both physical and emotional hardship. Early in life, he faced teasing from peers for his size and poverty, and he concealed vulnerability beneath a facade of toughness. Initially trained as a butcher, Brega transitioned into acting, where he carved a niche playing thugs, enforcers, and brutish henchmen. But this typecasting often frustrated him, particularly when he sought more nuanced roles in dramatic Italian cinema. He was known on set for a temper that flared during long, grueling shoots, occasionally clashing with directors and co-stars, and he struggled with the professional humiliation of failed projects where his physical presence was both asset and limitation. Off-camera, Brega's personal life was marked by privacy and loyalty. He had a deep attachment to friends and was a passionate supporter of the SCS Lazio football team, though he largely avoided scandal. Despite the harshness of his roles, Brega revealed a surprising comic timing in Italian comedies later in his career, showcasing versatility that contrasted his violent screen persona. He passed away from a heart attack on July 23, 1994, at age 71. His estate, comprised of modest property and personal possessions, reflected a life dedicated to consistent work rather than ostentatious wealth, leaving behind a legacy as one of Italian cinema's most iconic enforcers, whose presence in spaghetti westerns remains unforgettable. Antonio Molino Rojo, born September 14, 1926 in Venta de Baños, Spain, was 40 when he played Captain Harper, a Union officer stricken with gangrene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966. Harper's portrayal required subtlety, balancing the humanity and moral conscience of a man aware of angel-eyes corruption with the impending inevitability of death, and Rojo delivered a nuanced, empathetic performance that elevated the supporting narrative. Rojo's early life was defined by rural hardship and post-war scarcity. Growing up in a modest environment during the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War, he witnessed deprivation, laborious survival, and social instability, which instilled discipline, stoicism, and an enduring focus on practical achievement. His acting career encompassed nearly 90 films, predominantly in spaghetti westerns, where he brought depth to minor yet pivotal characters, cultivating a reputation for dependability and subtle expressiveness that distinguished him from more flamboyant peers. Rojo navigated professional challenges, including typecasting, inconsistent employment, and the pressures of performing in harsh conditions, but he maintained a scandal-free public life, reflecting a commitment to craft over personal notoriety. His personal life was similarly discreet, largely shielded from public scrutiny with no major controversies or widely documented relationships, indicating a preference for privacy and professional dedication. Antonio Molino Rojo died on November 2, 2011 in Barcelona at age 85, leaving behind a modest estate comprising property and earnings from decades of film work. His legacy endures as an exemplar of disciplined artistry, whose quiet professionalism and understated talent enriched European cinema, contributing to the mythos of the Western genre and leaving a lasting, though subtle mark on the international cinematic landscape. Chelo Alonso, born Isabel Apollonia Garcia Hernandez on April 10, 1933 in Camagüey, Cuba, was 33 when she made a brief uncredited appearance as Stephen's wife in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. Though fleeting, her presence brought the signature fiery charisma and sensuality that defined her career, earning her the moniker Cuban H-Bomb. Alonso's childhood in Cuba was marked by political instability, economic hardship, and the subtle prejudice she faced as a woman of mixed heritage, which cultivated an independent and determined spirit. Her career trajectory was dazzling yet turbulent. She became a symbol of exotic allure in Italian cinema during the 1950s and 1960s, often cast as seductive femmes fatales, navigating a landscape rife with objectification and conservative criticism. While she avoided major public scandals, her sensual screen persona provoked gossip and whispered intrigue among industry circles. Her marriage to producer Aldo Giuffrè offered both protection and constraint, grounding her life privately while she retired early from acting, pivoting to entrepreneurial ventures, like a cat-breeding business and a Tuscan hotel. Alonso's life balanced glamour with careful control over her privacy, though she sometimes battled the lingering shadow of being pigeonholed as a sexual icon. She passed away on February 20, 2019 in Mentana, Italy, at age 85, due to complications from Parkinson's disease. Her net worth was not publicly recorded, but her legacy, marked by cinematic allure, daring dance performances, and European stardom, remains vibrant, influencing generations of performers and preserving her mystique as one of mid-century cinema's most enigmatic and striking presences. Mars. John Bartha was born on February 6, 1915 in Csíkszereda, Austria-Hungary, now Romania, and was 51 years old when he played the authoritative sheriff who captures Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. His character's stern yet pragmatic represented the fragile construct of law and order amid the chaos of war-torn landscapes, leaving viewers with a memorable embodiment of authority that was simultaneously sympathetic and rigid. Bartha's childhood was shaped by tumultuous historical circumstances. Growing up in the borderlands of Central Europe during the interwar period, he experienced ethnic tension, political instability, and frequent financial insecurity, which instilled a cautious, disciplined personality and a keen awareness of human frailty. His career was extensive, spanning nearly 100 films in Hungarian and Italian cinema, often cast in roles that demanded gravitas and reliability. Yet Bartha's professional life was not without its pressures, navigating multilingual sets, unpredictable directors, and the precariousness of European film financing tested his patience and resilience, though he remained highly respected by colleagues for his versatility and steady work ethic. Personally, he was reserved, avoiding public scandal, and maintained a private family life, though the shadow of geopolitical upheaval in his youth lingered as a subtle influence on his outlook. Bartha passed away on March 7, 1991 in Budapest, Hungary at the age of 76. While his net worth at death remains undocumented, his contributions to European and spaghetti Western cinema are widely recognized, his performance in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly enduring as a testament to the understated power of character actors who bring realism and weight to a story without overshadowing the narrative's central figures, leaving a cultural legacy of professionalism, versatility, and subtle but impactful artistry. Frank Braña, born Francisco Braña Pérez on February 24, 1934 in Pola de Alón, Spain, was 32 when he played an uncredited bounty hunter in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, a role that epitomized the silent menace typical of his extensive work in spaghetti westerns. Braña's early life in rural Asturias was defined by poverty-grueling labor and the premature death of close relatives, all of which instilled a stoic resilience that translated seamlessly into his cinematic performances. Before acting, he labored as a miner and chauffeur, enduring physically demanding work that left him prone to silicosis, a condition that haunted him throughout his career, but never prevented him from performing in over 200 films. Professionally, Braña faced the frustration of persistent typecasting, frequently relegated to henchman thugs or background roles, a limitation that underscored both the physical demands and artistic constraints of genre filmmaking. Despite the hardships, he cultivated a reputation for reliability, discipline, and intense professionalism, traits that earned him respect among directors and peers. His personal life remained largely private, free of public scandal, but he endured the quiet sorrow of health challenges and the sacrifices demanded by a life on set. Braña continued working into the 2000s, demonstrating remarkable endurance and commitment to his craft, leaving behind an enduring presence in European genre cinema. He died on February 13, 2012 in Madrid at age 77 from respiratory failure. Though his net worth was not publicly documented, his contributions to cinema, particularly spaghetti westerns, ensured a lasting artistic legacy, solidifying him as a respected and recognizable figure whose work continues to captivate genre enthusiasts and film historians alike. Benito Stefanelli was born on September 21, 1928 in Rome, Italy, and was 38 years old when he appeared in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966 as a silent, menacing member of Angel Eye's gang, whose looming presence amplified tension and danger within the film's narrative. Stefanelli's character, though rarely speaking, communicated threat through physicality, precision, and intensity, contributing to the film's iconic sense of suspense and moral ambiguity. Born into a working-class Roman family during a turbulent era, Stefanelli's childhood was punctuated by post-war hardship, limited resources, and societal instability, which fueled a resourceful and resilient temperament and an early fascination with physical performance and weapons handling. His career reflected versatility and technical expertise. In addition to acting, he worked as a stuntman and weapons master, often doubling or guiding actors in dangerous sequences, and served as Clint Eastwood's interpreter on set, bridging language barriers and ensuring seamless production. Despite professional acclaim, Stefanelli maintained a private life and had no recorded public scandals, though the intensity of his work exposed him to the high-risk demands of spaghetti western productions, grueling shooting schedules, and occasional conflicts with directors over safety and authenticity. His personal life remained largely shielded from the public eye, reflecting a focus on craft over celebrity. Stefanelli died on December 18, 1999 in Rome at the age of 71. While his net worth is unrecorded, his legacy endures through his dual contributions as both a performer and technical specialist in European westerns, shaping the genre's aesthetic tension and realism, and leaving a lasting imprint on cinematic history for his combination of disciplined skill, quiet professionalism, and the ability to make even minor on-screen presences unforgettable. Jesús Guzmán was born on June 15, 1926 in Madrid, Spain, and was 40 years old when he appeared as Pardieu, the pragmatic and discreet hotel owner in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. 1966, a character who, though brief in screen time, added texture to the chaotic Civil War backdrop, representing the small-town civilians navigating violence and greed. On screen, Pardieu's restrained performance contrasted with the exaggerated extremes of Tuco and Angel Eyes, providing audiences a sense of grounded reality amid the surreal brutality and dark humor of León's narrative. Guzmán's childhood in Madrid was shaped by economic and social challenges during Spain's turbulent interwar years. Raised in a modest household, he confronted early poverty, strict societal expectations, and the pressures of a recovering nation. Experiences that instilled in him resilience and a practical sensibility that informed his work ethic and nuanced portrayals of everyday characters. His career spanned more than 130 productions in film and television, often in supporting roles, including the beloved role of Braulio, the postman in Crónicas de un Pueblo. Yet he endured periods of professional stagnation as Spanish cinema faced economic instability and competition from international productions. Guzmán maintained a low-key personal life, avoiding scandal or sensationalism, though he faced the common stresses of family obligations, long hours on set, and the physical and emotional strain of a demanding profession. Despite this, he continued working steadily, demonstrating dedication and adaptability, mentoring younger actors and contributing to the consistency of Spanish entertainment. Guzmán passed away on October 16, 2023 in Madrid at the age of 97, leaving behind a vast body of work beloved by generations. His net worth was not publicly recorded, yet his cultural legacy rooted in the warmth, relatability, and reliability of his performances endures, cementing him as one of Spain's most enduring and respected character actors, whose quiet professionalism and charm enriched European cinema without the taint of scandal or controversy. Antonio Casas, born November 11, 1911 in A Coruña, Spain, was 55 when he portrayed Stevens in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. In 1966, a character whose brief but pivotal role set in motion a series of betrayals that defined the film's violent moral landscape. On screen, Stevens is a wealthy, cautious man whose attempt to navigate the treacherous world of greed and corruption ultimately leads to his early demise at the hands of Angel Eyes, reflecting both the ruthlessness of the narrative and Casas's ability to convey vulnerability beneath a veneer of authority. Casas's upbringing was shaped by hardship. He grew up in a modest working-class family during a politically turbulent Spain, witnessing poverty, social unrest, and the early death of extended family members, which forced him to mature quickly and cultivate a quiet resilience. He initially pursued a career as a footballer for Atletico Madrid, yet the instability of sports and political upheaval prompted him to pivot to acting in 1941, navigating an industry constrained by Francoist censorship and the economic uncertainty of post-war Spain. Casas faced repeated professional challenges. He was frequently typecast as authority figures or antagonists, endured the pressures of working under demanding directors, and confronted the precarious nature of film contracts, yet he maintained a reputation for professionalism and reliability. While largely avoiding public scandal, Casas' personal life remained private, marked by few documented relationships, and he seemed to prioritize career and craft over fame or social attention. He died on February 14, 1982 in Madrid at age 70 from natural causes, leaving behind an estate that included his residence investments and earnings from nearly 170 film and television roles. His legacy is one of understated authority, resilience, and artistic reliability, securing his place as a respected character actor whose work shaped Spanish cinema's narrative depth and left an enduring influence on European genre films, all while maintaining a life relatively free of controversy. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.